Hey guys, Steve Simpson here with Central Florida Property Management. Hope everyone is doing well. Wanted to chat real quick about a question I get asked frequently, and that's, well, part of a question I get asked frequently, and that is what kind of property to invest in. And I guess I want to dive into condos and my general thoughts on condos and why I mostly don't think they're a good investment. Before I get to that, I guess the carve out of why you would invest in a condo would be, in my opinion, if you are unable to obtain financing, and usually it's for international buyers. If you just want to get cash in the States and you don't have enough cash to, and you want to invest in Orlando, you don't have enough cash to buy a home. Typically, condos are cheaper than single-family houses and townhomes. So if your primary goal is I just want to get cash in the States, get in real estate a hard asset as cheaply as I can, I think condos is a pretty good way to go. Other than that, I'm not a huge fan. A couple of reasons why. One, I think a lot of people buy condos thinking that their return on investment is really high because on the surface, if you don't dig down, it kind of is. I think once you really look into HOA dues, which can be very high, vacancy, which a lot of condos have, which we've talked about in the past, HOA rules that can limit your rental ability or how fast you can rent the property. So taking into account vacancy with that, other sorts of things. I think when you really break it down, obviously, I'm sure some condos are more profitable than some non-condos, but I don't think the condo arena is the most profitable, generally speaking, profitable residential property type as a whole. I don't think they're any more profitable than any other property. What they do have is a lot of risk, and I don't like risk, and especially if you're not getting a ton more return, better ROI, you're taking the risk on for basically no reason. What risk do I have? You've got all kinds of risks. So the obvious one would be when you have a condo, you have shared walls. Depending on where the unit is in the condo, if you're below somebody, you have risk of their unit, something happening that impacts your unit. If you're above somebody, you have the risk of your unit, something happening and damaging someone else's unit. Both of those can be nightmare scenarios depending on who the owner of the unit is that your unit impacted. We've had instances where we have like a second floor unit and there was a leak 2 floors up that flooded our unit, and the gentleman that owned the property that leaked was insolvent. So good luck dealing with all that. You can't really recover something. Obviously you have insurance, but sometimes insurance policies when dealing with condos aren't kind of the same as if a single family home. You obviously have the whole issue of if something breaks, is it your responsibility or is it the HOA's responsibility? Going deeper into that, you have to have an HOA. HOA has more power than in a single family home HOA in terms of they can be responsible for roofs, plumbing, electrical, and how solvent is that HOA. The HOA in a condo, in my opinion, is a lot more important than the HOA in a single family home neighborhood. One thing to consider with that, so most properties that are purchased with financing have the mortgages securitized through Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, who I'm sure you've heard of. They have rules that basically say if your HOA is so much delinquent, certain percentage, they won't loan on those properties. During the Great Recession, a lot of people stopped paying HOA dues, and what happened is a lot of condominium complexes basically became unfinanceable. So what happens when your property can't be financed? The value of your property goes down. Now, I will say values spiked. The values of condos went up percentage-wise a lot faster than the values of single-family homes, but they also went down a lot faster. You're talking about like a downtown Orlando condo that at the height of the market was worth $350, was worth under $150 when the market is at its bottom. I think generally speaking, that asset class got hit a lot harder, again, because it was unfinanceable. And then you have the whole thing also going back to the HOAs of them making rules and things that can negatively impact your condo ability. At the end of the day, you just have less control, and less control is more risk. And again, if you're not being paid to make up for that risk, I don't think it's a good risk to take on. So, I'm sure everyone has their own opinion. That's pretty much mine. I personally do not own any condos. I would have to get a really, really good deal to buy a condo, again, to compensate for that risk. And it's probably one of those things where I've seen the bad stuff happen. I've seen the 4th floor leak into my 2nd floor unit. I've seen my 3rd floor unit leak into a 1st floor unit, and the 1st floor unit sue my owner who leaked into their unit. All kinds of stuff that you don't deal with if you don't have shared walls, especially vertically shared walls. Just my thoughts. I'm obviously not not everyone's going to agree with me, but people always like to ask me for my opinions, so there's that one. If you guys have any questions or thoughts or disagree with me, I would love to hear your thoughts on why condos might be a good investment. So yeah, hope to hear from you guys and hope you're doing well. Thanks.